everyone, and welcome to Scrap Saturday. I hope you're all doing well. So it's going to be a little bit of a quick one. I'm sort of in between. I don't really fast forward them that quick. I only do 2 times the speed, so once in a while it takes me a little bit longer, but this layout wasn't that long. I kind of just moved things around, but it didn't really take me that long. It's a photograph of myself and my husband. And this is still our anniversary weekend when this is going up. I'm pretty sure that yesterday was Friday and that was our anniversary day. And it's such a special day for us, right? Because October 13 is also Our Lady of Fatima Day. So we call it Nossa Senhora de Fatima. And of course, in Portugal, we have Fatima. And it's just such a beautiful day, right? Being religious the way that we are, it was a no-brainer for us that the year that we wanted to get married, when we looked into October, it was perfect. We thought, yes, for sure. And I know I've mentioned it before, myself and Alan, we are high school sweethearts. And so we've been together for at least, I think it's been 26 years. Now, there wasn't any like hardcore dating because my parents wouldn't allow for that. I think I only introduced Alan to my dad. I introduced him to my mom beforehand, and she was such a good cat. She used to keep my secrets, but I think we were 18 by the time I introduced him to my dad. And I believe we were both like 14 and 15 when we first met each other. And yeah, I used to have my locker across from his, and I used to stare at him all the time. I'd be like, oh wow, that's a really good looking guy, because he has these beautiful, like my favorite colored eyes are like teal and turquoise. And then I used to go to like my 3rd or 4th period class, and I think it was math class, and his sister Marlene would sit behind me, and I would turn around and literally, nothing that's a surprise here, I would yap her ear off about this good-looking guy across from my locker. And being such a good sport like she was, she just listened in. Yeah, sure, yeah, the guy, yeah, never making the connection. So I think during January, during exam time, I'm in the cafeteria, and we had different groups of friends at that point. And I look over in the cafeteria because I had an Alan radar at this point, right? Because he's my high school crush. Hello. And I see her talking to him, and I thought, that nasty you-know-what. How could you be talking to him when this whole time I've been talking to her about him? And so it so happens that the next semester, I think I had religion with her or something like that. Those little details I can't remember, but I did have another class with her. And I remember after the Christmas holidays and exams and yada yada, I saw her again, and I'm like, excuse me, but you were in the cafeteria over exam time, and you were talking to the guy that I've been telling you about. And she's like, a guy? A good-looking guy? I was talking to him? And then I swear to you, I still remember the look on her face when she made the connection. She's like, my brother Alan? And I was like, he's your brother? True story, guys. True story. And if I've said it before, I'm sorry. But I think it's worthy of repeating, because most of the photos you see with me, myself and Alan, and here it's no exception. We had a family friend in Portugal. She was walking around with our camera at this point. We had just finished swimming all together, and it was at this beautiful, beautiful point. It's like all those natural lava stone pools that the ocean creates towards the shoreline. And so we were just sitting here soaking up some sun and just enjoying the fact that for a lot of people who live on the island, they don't make time to go to the beach, right? It's just like a welder has a wooden fence. It's just one of those anomalies that, you take for granted that you live by the ocean, because they have jobs, they have lives, they have things that they have to do, right? It's not like, they can sit outside and go swimming every day. They have things to do, and they just kind of like, like anything, we just take it for granted. And so she was walking around taking pictures, and she was so excited because it had been at least 6 years since her husband, had jumped into the ocean, and all of our cousins were in the ocean that day, because it just translated into that, and it was so beautiful. And so she came up to us and she took a picture of us here. And of course, my husband is usually the silly guy and it's hard to get a good photo, but we were both genuinely smiling and I love this photo. Right. And the only negative is that I always find that, people don't know where my daughter gets her blonde hair from. But then when I see this photo, my hair turns very, very light, like a light Auburny brownish color, to almost having highlights to them every time I'm in a tropical place or I'm in the sun for a very, very long time. I usually dye my hair very dark brown, but in the summertime, especially with salt water and true tropical sun, it just goes back to this kind of like, wispy, it almost blends in with my skin tone. It's really weird. But anyway, I digress. Back to my story. Yes. So we're high school sweethearts, right? And we've been through a lot together, let alone that he's put up with, my crazy, very, very strict dad who's got a lot of issues of his own, and just marrying into a family that's, I'm going to say, completely different than his. We're very loud and in your face and obnoxious and very straightforward. We don't sugarcoat very much. I mean, my siblings are very kind as well. We do have very kind heart, but we're just different. I just think we make way more noise. And so, I see that I do a lot of, I say we, but that's not what I meant to say. I do post a lot of these pictures, and usually it's like this, right? It's a happy photo. So you probably assume like, wow, everything's perfect, but it's not. There are days when we argue with each other just like everybody else does. And so, sometimes I hear people say, oh, I don't argue in front of the children, or I don't do this and I don't do that. And I don't agree with that. I think that a true, honest relationship has to include the honest part when you are angry, when compromise isn't something that you think you can do in that moment because you also have a stubborn personality. And two people, for as much as they love each other, as much as they do share morals and whatever else in common, and everything else is going well, because he is very hardworking like I am, so family oriented, all those little checkpoints. Yeah, that's great. We don't have the same taste in music, right? I don't think we have the same kind of sense of humor, although he makes me laugh. And I know I make him laugh, but we won't gravitate to the same, silly movies. He absolutely loves Dumb and Dumber. I can tolerate it. But there are sometimes where, the arguments are serious, because relationships really are like that. That's what love looks like. Love sometimes is angry or impatient, and sometimes it's just not in the mood. And so I don't protect my children from that. I don't protect them from the truth so that one day when they are faced with any sort of relationship of their own, I don't want them to be disarmed. I want them to understand what forgiveness looks like. I want them to understand what emotions and feelings in a relationship feels like. I want them to understand what it means to compromise, to allow your feelings to take hold of you in that moment, but then to come back and say, hey, I'm sorry. I was really, really hangry, and I think I took it out on you. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, my dad's hard to handle, but he's not me, so you can't put me in that middle. You have to, look at me aside from that. I'm not my family's mistakes. I'm just me. And vice versa. There's so many things. And learning to compromise means that as we grow, as we age together, now that we've been married for almost, today when you watch this, it will be year 16. And so for 16 years, right, we promised that we would do the best that we could. And that's all that we do. That doesn't mean that in that exact moment or exactly today as this happening that we don't get angry or agitated or frustrated. Or sometimes we're just impatient with life, or work was bad and we took it out on each other, because sometimes the people that you love the most, those are the people that you hurt the most too. Because that's when you can be raw and you can be yourself and you don't have to be fake, and you can just tell them, look, I'm having a bad day, man. A really bad day. But somehow you make things better. And when I can, and when I do, and I don't stay mad for very long, I'm not a grudge holder person at all. I mean, I don't know if that's something you can control, but I don't have that. And neither does Alan. We're really good at just sitting down and talking about, maybe I don't have to apologize for everything. I can't apologize for being who I am, but we can compromise, right? Maybe I won't do that exact thing that makes you so angry. Maybe I'll be a little bit more considerate next time and not do that. And so I had a lot of fun making this layout. It was simple, but I kind of rotated things, as you can see. I was trying so many little bits and pieces and trying to make everything work. And you know what? I still gravitated back to gold. And it's when I picked up this gold leaf that everything changed for me. I was like, oh, the gold leaf. I'll put one here. And I've been looking at so many fall layouts on YouTube because I love watching YouTube videos and getting all kinds of inspiration. And then this layout really was like, oh yes, I'm going to put the leaves around the circle and it's going to make me so happy. I included some typewriter journaling at the top. That was a die cut that just said notes on it. And then I wrote, just us here in the sun, smiling in love. The ocean brings us so much joy forever in our hearts. And yes, we both love the ocean. We have that in common. We both love the heat and the sun. And yeah, it was truly meant to be. I do believe that God saved Alan as a soulmate for me, and that I accepted the challenge, even though there were times where I thought, maybe this isn't going to work out. But it did. I think it was meant to be. And as corny as it sounds, I love telling people our story because sometimes they don't believe it. They're like, really? Yeah. You never dated anyone else? No, I never felt the need to. I never felt the need to expand that. And yeah, I'm very proud. I'm very happy of, the life that we've chosen to live together through the good and the bad and all that other stuff that we said. Right? What, for better, for worse, something like that. Sometimes it's really bad when it's my turn to vacuum, but you start to feel like you're the only one who vacuums. I digress. But yeah, so I think it's a simple layout. I love the way it turned out. Again, I'm gravitating to a very neutral background just because I felt that it was what I needed. Once I put down these gold, whatever you want to call them, I don't know, sparkly leaves, I loved it. Everything was good. And then I switch out that little button at the bottom just to bring down a touch of blue to match the blue arrow at the top. So yeah, have a wonderful Our Lady of Fatima day. And yeah, make time to show your kids what love looks like. Don't be embarrassed to have, a nice argument and teach them, this is what I'm sorry means and this is what love looks like. And don't always assume that every time you see a picture of a happy couple that, everything's perfect. I doubt that that's how people live, but it's close enough for us. We're very happy. We're good. We're normal, I think. Sending you all great big hugs. Thank you so much for having the time or for leaving me beautiful comments. I really appreciate all of them. Be inspired to do what you love. Make time for this hobby because this hobby heals. Again, thank you. And I will see you guys very, very soon.